The gaming industry is in the gutter, sinking like the Titanic. We're lost, so lost. But not everything is bad, because at least for me, there are some amazing games coming out that I give Gotti to each one of them. Hi friends, I'm Shura, and this is Shura's Works. Today, we'll take a look at 10 games I'm most excited for in 2025. And we're going to skip Silksong, Judas, and Bioshock 4 right off the bat, because we all know those games have never existed. They're like the love of my parents, just a myth. Number 10, Atomic Heart DLC 4. This one's a bit of a stretch because it hasn't been announced or anything, but we know it's coming because Munfish's roadmap mentioned 4 DLCs and a sequel. Now, Atomic Heart is a really good game, it's fantastic. The combat, the weapons, the upgrade system, the story. The only thing I didn't like was how enemies on the streets would respawn infinitely, but they fixed that in the DLCs, so that's good. Now, the DLCs. The first one, from last year, was meh. It's good if you like the gameplay, and it does expand the story a bit. There's a moment where the twins help you at the end, which is great, but overall, it's just meh. The second DLC? Catastrophic. It's horrible. The only good thing is that Ekaterina talks nicely to us at the beginning, and we get to interact with her a bit more, but the rest is terrible. Not worth it, just watch a YouTube video instead. But the third DLC? Now that one was amazing. I love how the story progresses, how we get to know more characters, especially allies. Not everyone wants to kill you anymore, and what I felt was missing in the previous installments, the development of the relationship between P3 and the twins, is what we got the most in this DLC. It finally establishes the twins as allies and turns Atomic Heart into what I always felt it should have been, a love story. But anyway, personal trauma aside, this third DLC leaves the door open for the final showdown, which should come in DLC 4. There's no date yet, but they usually take about 8 months between DLCs, so the next one will probably come out in December of this year, just like last year, or maybe early next year to wrap up P3 and the twin story. Number 9, Hotel Barcelona. From Suda51, the creator of No More Heroes and Lollipop Chainsaw, comes this game, a side-scrolling beat-em-up where we face off against enemies inspired by classic horror movies, like slashers from the 80s. So we're fighting bad guys who remind us of Jason, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Alien, Hannibal Lecter. There are tons of references to these movies. It's going to be super interesting, and it has that cel-shaded style that's so recognizable from the creator, proving once again that you don't need hyper-realistic graphics or super dramatic walking simulators to make a spectacular game. There's no release date yet, but they said it's coming in 2025, so we'll have to wait. The best part? It's also coming to Game Pass. Number 8, Atom Fall. Speaking of Game Pass, we have Atom Fall, a first-person shooter where we return to a radioactive wasteland, this time in England, not the US or Russia. It reminds me a lot of Fallout. It's more of a survival game than a straight-up action game, and it also has some Stalker vibes, which came out recently. It's one of those games where you can't just go in guns blazing like Rambo. You have to collect materials and plan your moves. I just hope it's more forgiving than Stalker, because that's what I didn't like about it. You just walk in and instantly get killed from all sides, with traps, invisible enemies, and bullets flying everywhere. It'd be nice if it's challenging but still gives you a chance to actually play. So, we'll just have to try it out on March 27th. Number 7, Silent Hill. Oh, Silent Hill has had its ups and downs. It's clear Konami has no idea what they're doing. After the disastrous announcements, the short message that some people found interesting and others didn't care about, and the absolute worst thing they've released in years, Ascension. Ugh. But then came the mega hit that was Silent Hill 2, this time its personal remake. Oh my god, the best Silent Hill game in history. In fact, it was so good that fans decided they didn't want to consider it just a remake but rather the next installment in the series, like a continuation. Unlike other entries, which we all agreed to pretend never existed, with Silent Hill 2 Remake, everyone agreed it's a must-play in the franchise. A masterpiece. It shut up all the critics of Bloober Team and positioned them as the best company to handle horror franchises. But it might have just been a fluke. Maybe it was a miracle, the stars aligning to give us this work of art, but in reality, Konami and Bloober Team have no idea what they're doing. So we'll have to wait and see what they announce, because we know 2 more games are coming, F and Downfall, about which we know almost nothing. And there's also the Silent Hill movie, which is supposed to come out this October, but we don't even have a trailer yet. It could be a hit like Sonic, or it could be a disaster like Borderlands. So, I'm really curious to see what they'll do now that they've finally hit the mark, and we know Bloober Team is working on another game in the franchise, though we don't know which one. Number 6, Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers. The first Chinese game on the list, this Souls-like is coming to Game Pass, though we don't have a release date yet. It seems like Xbox's answer to Black Myth, Wukong. Wu-Chang has also had some controversy over how the protagonist looks and how they seem to have changed her to make her more attractive. The game looks interesting, a well-crafted Souls game with a beautiful aesthetic, stealth elements, and different weapons, including firearms. We'll have to wait and see if the story stands out, because that's always been a weak point in Souls games, especially those set in China. For example, I played all of Wulong, wrong. Fallen Dynasty with its 3 DLCs, and I can tell you I have no idea what the game it's about. Something about a dragon and eating some balls. I don't know. So they should make the story a bit clearer, but not too explanatory. Don't give me a 3-hour cutscene just narrating how the kingdom of Chun Chun didn't like how the people of Chan Chan spoke, so they fought, and so on for 3 hours. It's better to do it like Lies of P, where the story unfolds through conversations with characters. Don't make me wait 3 hours of cutscenes before I can play. Wuchang doesn't have a release date yet, but it's slated for 2025 and will also be on Game Pass. Number 5, Hell Is Us. This one, it looks super disturbing, but in the best way. It's a third-person action game that looks Souls-like, but more hack and slash, so it probably won't be as hard, but it'll still be scary. It has a great identity this time. We're not medieval knights, but something weird mixing futuristic technology with magic spells. It's like enchanting a drone to combo with it. It looks interesting, the story and graphics look great, and even with those graphics, it's coming to the Series S, which shows that the console's power isn't an issue. Hell Is Us doesn't have a release date yet, but it's coming in 2025 if nothing goes wrong. Number 4, Clockwork Revolution. Another Game Pass game, and again, no release date. But this game looks amazing. In the absence of BioShock 4 and Judas from Ken Levine, we have this first-person shooter heavily inspired by BioShock Infinite. Not just because of its steampunk aesthetic and weapons, but because of the time travel and parallel dimensions, which is the most interesting part. They say that depending on your decisions in the game, the world changes in different ways as a consequence of your actions. We'll have to see if that's true, because, for example, remember how the decisions you made in BioShock Infinite didn't matter at all, the game just did whatever it wanted. Also, the steampunk robots turning evil is an interesting mechanic it reminds me a lot of, well, you know which game. Number 3, Borderlands 4. Oh boy, this is the game I'm most scared of in 2025. Because, dude, I love the Borderlands franchise. I've played all of them, and there are so many installments, and they've all been great. Well, some more than others. But lately, Gearbox has been going through terrible times, and they keep making worse and worse decisions, like the latest new Tales from the Borderlands or the movie. It's just getting worse. And now comes Borderlands 4, the new installment, and I don't know what to think. The trailers don't show anything special, the character designs look boring, and it lacks the identity that the series usually has. Sure, they've never been super extravagant, but this time they're just generic Fortnite characters. And they've already said this one will take a turn towards seriousness, less humor. But that's the magic of Borderlands, it's jokes and absurd humor everywhere. Borderlands is more of a parody than a serious game, which is why the movie did so poorly, and even the fans didn't want it. If you're going to make something Borderlands, it can't feel like a Marvel movie or Call of Duty. It has to be scary movie, silly, nonsensical, but with lovable characters that make you want to keep going. I'm scared it's going to come out and be terrible, and because it's so bad, Gearbox will decide to end the franchise over their own dumb decisions, and this game will be the end of this huge saga. I hope not. The game comes out on September 23rd, fingers crossed. Number 2, Expedition 33. The Gotti, dude, the Gotti. I know Split Fiction is out there, Yakuza looks great, GTA 6, whatever, but for me, this is my most anticipated game since it was announced. It looked spectacular, and every new thing they show just makes it look better and better and better, to the point where it's absurd. You're like, okay, this can't be real. It has to be a joke or a scam, because it looks so incredible that you can't believe how incredible it is. It's an old-school, turn-based RPG with interesting characters, amazing powers, stunning environments, and a story that sounds super intriguing. And the waifus are really cute. God, Square Enix must be rolling in their grave. Oh, wait, they're not dead yet. Well, but if this is the competition they have now, it's game over for them. And the best part, the absolute best part, is that it's a short game. They say it'll only take about 30 hours, maybe a little more. 33 hours. It's the game I'm most excited for this year, and it's coming to Game Pass on April 24th, so that day, Xbox's servers are going to crash from the sheer number of people trying to play it. But wait, Shura, hold on. If this is the game you're most excited for this year, why is it in second place? Ah, well, because in first place, on my list and in my heart, is number 1, Lies of P DLC. Lies of P, The Lies of Peppy Overture. Obviously, I couldn't leave it behind. This isn't a full game, it's a DLC, but it still looks absolutely marvelous. Just hearing its music, watching the trailer, and knowing that those jerks left us waiting for 2 years after releasing Lies of P without saying a word about sequels or DLCs. They just left us heartbroken until now. Lies of P is my favorite game since I played it back in 2023. It's forever etched in my kokoro. And now that we know this DLC is coming, with more story, new characters we haven't seen before but knew about, and new enemies. And now we can have Aladoro and the legendary Stalker as allies. This is definitely the DLC I'm most excited for, and I know that after playing it, I'll be in the shower crying for a couple couple of months, waiting for more from the studio. This DLC doesn't have a release date yet, but it's coming this summer. And that's it. These are the 10 games I'm most excited for this year. Do you think I missed any? Do you think there are others that are even better? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the stories in my social media in the description. And on Patreon we have some super cool and spicy rewards at $6 for the highest subscription. Come in, take your hot and frothy subscription. I've been Shura, and I'll see you in the next one.
Siempre lucharé por ti con mi alma eléctrica.